Well, it is a time of year, of course, where people are in that new year, new me kind of mode. Whether you're into making New Year's resolutions or you just want to see improvements in your life, it can feel really discouraging when you get stuck on all the things that you think you didn't achieve. So how do you set those goals without setting yourself up for, well, failure? And should we even be using that word, failure? Or are we being too hard on ourselves? Delia Joseph is here to sort through it. She's a Winnipeg life coach. She's founder of Improveology Lifestyle Coaching. And thank you for being here on the last day of the year.
Thank you for having me.
So should we be using that word, failure? I saw you shaking your head.
No, because your words are powerful, right? So whatever you say, you are. So failure, we're going to erase that word. Instead, use the word imagine. Imagine yourself being the thing that you're looking for in terms of your goal setting, right? So you've heard the term I am, right? So you can say I am, in my career that I've always wanted, right?
Okay.
But then if you use the word imagine, you start to visualize yourself there, right? Who you surround yourself with, who you're talking to. So anytime you use the word I am, use the word imagine. Imagine I am driving my favorite car, the car that I always dreamed. Imagine that I'm in the house that I've always wanted to purchase, right? So the way to set your goals is to know your why. Your why will drive you to taking the actions. And especially when you feel that, I don't think I can do this. When you revert right back to your why, you get excited again. Right. And
does that fuel then the motivation to maybe take steps towards achieving what you've actualized?
Exactly.
Or what you're trying to, I guess.
Exactly.
So the word, what about resolutions? What about the idea of how is that different from what we're talking about?
Well, when we say resolution, it depends. What I say is in terms of words, nothing has meaning except for the meaning that you give it. Right. So for me, resolution means like you are resorting to the best version of yourself, right? So resolution could be you are making your mind up. You're believing that this is my resolution for the year. I say that I'm going to be this, and this is my resolution is this.
Why is it such a challenge for people to get there, to achieve?
Because you have to set up goals. You have to set your mind up to achieve it. So one of the things I do in terms of goal setting, I set up clear goals. So what I mean by that is know your why and prioritize yourself. Because sometimes we put ourselves on the back burner, right? So when you set clear goals, you then are driven to achieve those goals. Then break them down into small steps. Create small steps in terms of milestones for each goal that you're setting. And they could be daily goals, they could be weekly goals, they could be monthly goals and habits. Because now when you start doing it that way, you start setting yourself for new habits. Because the reason you don't have what you want on your vision board is because you've had limiting beliefs about yourself, right? Once you start addressing that, then you do the opposite of that, right? So you can't achieve what you're not going to address.
What's the difference between, if you set your goal and you've broken it down, what's the difference between a timeline and a deadline? And do you set that? Because we started by saying don't put too much pressure on yourself. So how do you achieve you should, I'm guessing, have a deadline, but how do you do that without too much pressure?
You do need a deadline, but also to set yourself up for success, start with small steps, small goals, right? To set yourself up, because you don't want to set yourself up to fail, right? So if you are going to set yourself up to release weight, I don't say lose, release weight, because when you lose something, you always want to find it and get it back, right?
When you release.
Yeah, so when you release,
that's a better word.
Yeah, when you release, you're done with it, right? So when you're wanting to, your desires to release, say, 10 pounds, right? Start off with 1 pound. Start off with 2 pounds. And when you release those 1 or 2 pounds, celebrate it. Because when you celebrate it, you feel like, oh, I've achieved this. That means I can achieve more, right?
So you're really just the continual motivation of yourself isn't just to set the goal. It's obviously it's throughout the whole process.
Absolutely.
What do you do when you do feel like you, we're not going to say fail. What do you do when you feel like you're off track of what you planned?
That's where the why comes in. Know your why. Yeah, because your why will fuel you to start it over again. Right?
How has this approach the 5 steps that you've been going over here, which is define the goals, break it down, set the deadline, stay focused, celebrate the progress. Mm-hmm. How have they helped in your own life?
I'm here. I'm on the radio. So it's helped me stay focused, right? And it's also reminded me of my why as well. My why is I have 5 grandchildren, and so my why is leaving a legacy that they can be proud of. So when I feel like I can't move anymore, I can't do this anymore, I'm like, wait a minute. My why in terms of doing this was to leave a legacy. So how do I do that? Well, I have to take action, right? I can't just sit around and wait for it to happen. So when you're taking steps, you're expanding yourself to do more, right? And to be more and to have more.
Is negative self-talk, like it seems to me that used to be something we would talk about when we were discussing sort of mental health challenges or mental health problems or struggles. But now it seems to be something that like every single person is talking about negative self-talk. Why is that crept in? Is it the comparisons we make to one another on social media? Is that why that's sort of crept in, that constant feeling like you're somehow not enough, whether you're going to set a goal or not?
Comparison, oh my goodness.
Right?
That's what, as soon as you notice it, so name it. If you name it, then you can deal with it, right? So if you're comparing yourself to someone or to something or to anything.
Everyone does it.
Yeah, everyone does it. Recognize that you're doing that, right? And feel the feeling of that, but then move on from that and say to yourself, well, you know what? If I'm comparing myself to somebody that has this, how can I achieve that, right? So your self-talk is key for you to move forward. So if you're always saying to yourself, I can never have this, how come they have it and I don't? Say to yourself, how can I achieve that? What are the steps should I take in order to have that? Because if it's for them, it is for you too.
Before you go this morning, Delia, what's one thing that you'll be leaving behind in 2024?
Low vibrations. Low vibrations. That's the same thing as negative, right? But I name it low vibration. And when I say low vibration, when I feel the feeling of that, I'm like, okay, I don't like feeling this way. How can I raise my vibration and my frequency to feel better about certain things? So I always think about things that bring me joy. So my resolution for 2025 is to do things that only bring me joy and happiness.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Last day of the year, a little inspiration there, and also some practical thoughts, ways to think about setting up your goals. Delia Joseph's been with us, founder of Improveology Lifestyle Coaching. You can catch her on social media, by the way, or through her website. It is joinimproveology.com.